Hello, everybody. I hope you've been having a good week so far. I figured why not do an episode of Enduring Ideal. I haven't been feeling particularly well, so I'll try to keep this episode relatively short. But there's just been a couple things, so we'll just try and see if we can get through them in a timely manner for once. So let me know if my AC is too loud. If it's too loud, I don't know. I'll try to move my mic or something. Probably isn't much I can realistically do about it, but yeah, we've had a lot of stuff happening. I've just been exhausted. I'm not sure if I'm sick. I'm not sure if it's just because work's been completely nuts or what it is, or the fact that I started a diet. It could be some kind of combination of all three of those at once. I think I've lost 6 pounds in my first week. I'm dedicated this time. I know I say this every time, but this time I really mean it. This time I'm going to lose that weight. Sci-fi Pulsi. Okay, but maybe it'll come back. It should. I've just haven't felt like it lately. But what am I looking at? So I've the new strategy is I've just started making my food ahead of time. So I have like proportioned things of chili and curry, and I've made my my nutrition protein fiber bars. So I've just been trying to keep to that and supplementing that when necessary. Mostly just trying to eat more fiber and more protein. I figured that was probably the best way to go about it. Was just try to eat things that are a bit more filling. So we'll see. I was actually shocked how high my weight had gotten up, but it is what it is, I guess. Afternoon, what's for dinner? I'm not really eating dinner that much. I'm mostly eating my main. I find it's easier if I eat my main meal at noon. So yeah, I'll eat my I eat my main meal there. Then, and I find that's a bit better because you don't really need that much around night. Resignation coming. I'm not sure what that means exactly. By the way, just as a general rule, so I know I say this probably once every 6 months or so. I'm still always wondering how to do content schedules. The issue is I just don't normally do things unless I feel like doing them. And I don't really make enough money off this channel to prioritize it like a job. But there are some things I'd like to do and I just kind of never get around to. So I don't know. I've been thinking maybe I should like relaunch my Patreon and use that as the goals on there for reviewing things that I don't really want to do without being paid. Like, there's some things I'd review, I just don't really feel motivated to do so. There's some anime series, some things people keep asking me to do. I was looking at Audible today. I was like, oh, Evangelion Anima, that looks almost kind of interesting, but I don't really want to read it. If someone paid me, though, I would read it. So we'll think about that. But anyways, let's see. What has been happening in Schrodinger's war? What's been happening in Schrodinger's war? So it's nice to know that once again, the entirety of the Russo-Ukraine war has ended for the last couple weeks, because we had the debate, we had the Trump assassination, we had the media snaking on Biden. And as you may have noticed, whenever something happens, then everyone just stops talking about it. Everything stops occurring, and there's been no fighting. Nothing. I just don't know if anyone has noticed that Ukraine basically fell out of the media completely for like the last week or so, or maybe almost the last month. Largely because of, like I said, because of all the stuff that's going on with Trump and Biden and stuff like that. But what is going on? Um, Largely, I don't think nothing's really the right term, but nothing too dramatic has really been happening lately. And that tends to mean that Russia's about to do something. Because as we've said many times, Russia has pretty good OPSEC, and they do not, as a general rule, announce things ahead of time or while they're doing things. They only confirm things, generally speaking, after it's very obvious that something's already happened. So the fact that it's very quiet and there hasn't been any major stuff going on recently is indicating to some people that Russia is planning something. So in general, it's the same story that we've been going on for the last month or two after the fall of Avdiivka. The back of the Ukrainian army, as I said, the ability of them to launch, there's ability to launch major offensives, in my opinion, was permanently broken with the failure of the spring offensive last year. And what was left of their strategic reserves appears to have been destroyed at Avdiivka. So now the Ukrainian army is basically just having to rely on spreading their forces thinner and thinner, and just rushing their few remaining good units all over the place with very little rest or recuperation. It's not just the trailers, it's Ukraine will announce things or they'll hint like they've been saying we're going to launch this big counterattack in Kharkov in the next month or so, and then there's the big thing with Project Drone where we're going to get 1 million AI-linked swarm drones together and by next year, and it's going to be this super weapon. It's going to be like the nano-hive drone swarm super weapon that the Japanese get in Red Alert 3, something like that. Also, there's the F-16s. Konstantin, you've probably been following this closer than me recently. Have the F-16s actually arrived in Ukraine yet? Or is that, continually being vaporware? Because they've been teasing the F-16s for the last... it's over a year now. I thought they were supposed to arrive, last summer. And they keep getting delayed. And then we had the whole thing where they were going to maybe be based out of Romania or Poland, but then land in Ukraine to arm, and then attack the Russians, and then fly back to Romania or Poland. I don't know. But anyway, so we have Russian advances pretty much all along the front lines. Okay, Konstantin says no one, a U.S. Army officer who was supposed to be overseeing the F-16s was mysteriously found dead. Okay, well that makes sense. That makes sense. That's probably what happened. That's my schizo theory is that Ukraine tried to assassinate Trump. That's my schizo theory. I did that schizo video where I talked about it being Putin was the one who was behind it as a fake assassination, but we'll get to the assassination in a minute. But yeah. So yeah, Marinka, just basically all around the front. As I've been saying, it really looks to me like the Russians are trying to make plans for encirclements or cauldrons or whatever you want, or envelopments. It does seem like they are pushing in certain areas, like here and here. And yeah, definitely up in New York, where the goal is to entrap large portions of the Ukrainian army. As we've just seen, they've really been pushing pretty hard since Avdiivka fell. Given how slow a lot of this war has been going, they've made quite a bit of progress in a short period of time. But still, they just don't seem particularly keen on launching these big aero offensives. They're content to just keep going forward. Now, as I said, there's been a lot of quiet. There's been quiet on the Russian front, on the front. Now, there is a rumor that... So, Budanov, the James Bond villain guy, the James Bond villain guy who's the head of Ukrainian intelligence. Well, he intelligently announced that they were trying to assassinate Putin like a couple hours before Trump almost got assassinated. So that was maybe not the best optics. But he said that there's something like horrific that's going on in the north, and he's not going to be too specific about it, because if he's too specific about it, then that's going to result in some sort of panic. Now, the reports that we've heard is that Russia has launched a raid, or perhaps the beginnings of an offensive, up near Sumy. So Sumy was one of the areas Russia had attacked early on in the war. As you can see, they took basically the roads and then withdrew. So a couple months back, they launched this minor offensive in the Kharkov region where they were... That's how I think you're supposed to pronounce it. I think the Russian pronunciation is Kharkov. I was saying Kharkov, but I think it's supposed to be Kharkov. So if that's the wrong pronunciation, I'm not calling it Kharkiv or whatever. But yeah, that they're going to be opening up another front here. So with regards to the Kharkov front, I'm still not entirely sure what the overall goal there was. If the goal was they were hoping it would be a bigger breakthrough, if they're just trying to widen the front line a bit more, make Ukraine divide its forces up, prevent them from being able to concentrate in any particular area, that seems certainly possible as one strategy. It could be that they're setting up for another offensive or something like that. We don't really know. Who knows? It could even be some long-term cauldron situation they're trying to do. But there's been rumors that Russia is going to launch an offensive in Sumy. So once again, I don't know if this is going to be another Kharkov situation where they're just going to take maybe a couple border villages, force the Ukrainian army to deploy some people there, and then just not go further, or if they're going to finally do a major offensive and try to sweep down. We aren't really sure. There was also some rumors that Syrskyi had suggested that they should surrender, was something I had heard. I really doubt that, because Syrskyi is not known for caring about things like military reality, but that rumor was out there. And there's also rumors that the which the Cyrillic character is X. Dawn Trail is boring the fuck out of me. I don't know what is Dawn Trail. Let's see, what is that? Oh, Final Fantasy. Okay, it's a Final Fantasy game. Okay. By the way, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, Baden Kaitos, one of my all-time favorite games, is now out on Steam. Baden Kaitos and Baden Kaitos Origins, although they call it Baden Kaitos 1 and Baden Kaitos 2, are now available as an HD remaster. I played them a number... I never actually finished 2, because 2 was just kind of too hard for me, I'm ashamed to admit. But I replayed Baden Kaitos 1 a couple of times. It's really good game. Really good. Card-based JRPGs at their finest. Incredible artwork. Let me just... You know what, let's just take this side. I know this doesn't have anything to do with anything, but we'll do it live. We'll do it live. So, yeah. But, yeah. I'd recommend them. I like the games a lot. Anyways, where were we? Right, so... There was rumors, and if this is true, this might be the G-slur off of the second half of 2024, that Ukraine's plan is that they're going to launch one final major offensive. It's going to be Operation what would it be, Kharkov Awakening or something like that. And there's going to be a there's going to be a major offensive, and they're going to the goal is going to be to actually get blown out and completely destroyed, and then that will give Zelensky the political capital to surrender. And then hopefully if that happens, then things will look so bad that the Banderites will let him surrender. Now, I don't believe this story. That sounds crazy to me. That sounds like Russian disinfo. But given the insane shit that the government's done in the Ukraine, and given that this is the Ukraine cinematic universe, I'm not going to entirely discount it, but that sounds like nonsense. Okay, so let's move on to the assassination. So the more time goes on, the more weird this whole thing seems. It's. I've been watching some videos of people who have been talking about it. Daniel Davis, I think what's his name? The guy from, I think it's Sonar 21. Jeez, wow, it's bad when I can't remember. But Brian Berletic, the founder of Rumble, who's also a former CIA, a former Secret Service agent, and just people who are more knowledgeable about guns. So, I initially was skeptical about some of the claims that were made. Like, I was skeptical about the whole claim that people had been telling the police, hey, there's a dude with a gun up there. We can see him climbing up there. We can see the ladder. We can see that kind of thing. Just because it's, could the Secret Service be that stupid? Yes, but it seems like things like this always come out. Like whenever there's 9/11 or there's a terrorist attack or something like that happens, there's always some sort of claim that something happened behind the scenes and there was advanced warning, rightly or wrongly. So I was a bit skeptical about it, but I've just heard from so many different sources. It does very much seem that, yeah, people saw the dude going up on the roof and setting up his gun and they didn't do anything. Someone also points out that how was the counter sniper team able to kill him within seconds? Like, because if you recall, after Trump gets shot, you hear the Secret Service fire back and yell target down. So how would they be able to shoot him back that fast? Like, unless they already had like the scope on him, right? Like, I'm not some sort of like advanced shooter guy, but I'd imagine it would at least take a couple seconds to aim, even if you knew where it was coming from. Also, would they immediately be able to tell where it's coming from? I mean, is muzzle flash really that big? It just seems like, and this was an argument somebody made, and I think this made a lot of sense. How would they be able to shoot back that fast if they were not aware? Once again, if somebody knows more about guns in the chat, let me know. I could be completely wrong about this, but that made sense to me. Somebody also pointed out, like, how did the guy get across the roof? That's another question for. So I think this is a sheet metal roof, isn't it? And it was a hot day out. So how did the dude get to the edge of the roof across it? Because if he crawled over it, I think he was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, wasn't he? So wouldn't he have, like, horrifically burned himself? I don't know if any of you have ever touched, like, metal during the summer when the sun's been just pounding down on it, but that shit will burn you. That shit will, like, it's incredibly painful at the very least. It'll probably take your skin off, especially if you're crawling along it. I don't know how he did that. That's another question somebody brought up that didn't make a lot of sense. Now, as for the shot itself, people have told, yeah, apparently he carried a ladder, like, for a mile or two to get there. Another point somebody made is, how did he know how big the ladder should be? Like, wouldn't you have to plan that ahead of time? Was he just carrying like a ladder and a rifle? I mean, I know there's rifles that fold. Like there's the Ruger takedown, and then there's that gun that James Bond uses. The gun that James Bond uses. But still. Zach says, to be fair, he probably went into it accepting he died. I understand that, but I don't know. It still just seems difficult for me to grasp, unless he was high on drugs or something, that he could put up with that for a prolonged period of time. I don't know. It's pretty sussy to me. So I had heard a rumor that they had him in this site, but they're told that they aren't allowed to initiate to shoot first. So they have to wait. So they knew he was there, but they had to wait until he shot first before they could shoot back. And that's like the current rules of engagement or something. Like you can point a gun at the president, but until you fire, it's okay. It is one of the things I've heard. So my understanding is this is not a particularly difficult shot to make. It's not like with some practice you should be able to do it. That's my understanding. My understanding is this is a shot that an average person with a little bit of practice could do, and it is not a super a shot that would require a Navy SEAL or something like that. So it is quite possible that he did attack, and then So the more that comes out about this, the more bizarre the whole thing gets. So I think first and foremost, and this, we don't even have to go into anything else. If the people saw this dude with a rifle and a ladder, and I mean the ladder would still be there unless he pulled it up, right? They're like, hey, look, there's a ladder there, and there's a dude who went up it on the roof with a rifle. If they actually told any of the guys like that and then nothing happened, that is at the very least such a high level of mental retardation. I kind of find it hard to believe. I find them deliberately ignoring a dude with a rifle to be who they can see so sussy. It makes more sense if it's a conspiracy than it's just retardation, because that's a level of retardation that I can't even really comprehend. So the more it goes on, the more suspicious this looks. So here is my theory. Here's the Argent theory as to what happened. Now, this is something I like to call implausible deniability. Now, implausible deniability is when it's extremely obvious you're behind something, but by a very slim legal definition, you technically aren't responsible for it. The metaphor I like to use is you tie someone up and pour gasoline on them, but somebody else lights them on fire, and they're like, well, I didn't technically light them on fire, so you can't hold me accountable for it. And then that's how implausible deniability works. It's like when the CIA obviously does something, and then they pretend that it was local forces on the ground, or things like that. The example I use for implausible deniability is when they were giving weapons to ISIS, and they're like, oh, it wasn't actually ISIS, it was people who wound up being ISIS, and we didn't know. It was an accident. We didn't know we were giving it to ISIS. That was an example. The entire Iraq War is one massive exercise in implausible deniability. Oh, we were just wrong about the WMDs. Another one that I like to point out is the whole Saddam Hussein did 9/11 thing, where Bush was like, look, if you technically go back and look at everything I said, I didn't technically say Saddam Hussein did 9/11. It was extremely heavily implied. The two things were mentioned together in the same sentence. I conflated them, but because I didn't technically say Saddam Hussein did 9/11, you're crazy if you think I said that. So, my best guess is this whole thing is one huge exercise in implausible deniability. So what do I mean by that? Basically, it's a bit like the whole, I don't know if you guys recall the who will rid them of this troublesome priest type situation, where, okay, the Democrats know they're in trouble, they want to get rid of Trump. So what they've been doing for the last 8 years is just having the most insane, over-the-top rhetoric that, like, Trump is Hitler reborn, he's going to kill 20 million illegal immigrants, he's going to kill all the trans people, he's going to deport all the black people to Liberia, he's going to be like Hitler 2, 3, and 4, as Fuentes would say. And if you notice the rhetoric, they will always say someone has to stop Trump. Trump has to be stopped, and they will say that, and they'll be like, someone needs to stop him for the good of the republic to save democracy. So it's very clearly they are presenting the narrative that this dude is a clear and present threat. And I mean, like, let's look at this from a rational perspective. If you actually truly believed that Trump was Hitler, 2, 3, and 4, that he was going to kill tens of millions of Americans, and you could stop him by doing something, wouldn't that be the morally consistent thing to do? Like, I just being real here. Like, if you actually thought that Trump was going to do that, then wouldn't that be it? And this is why I always say that the whole, like, it's an incitement to violence thing is bullshit, because everybody basically does that. Like people say conservative talk radio it does. If you're talking about how, like, oh, my opponent is going to take away your kids and cut off their dicks, or take away your guns, or I guess what would a left-wing version be? If they're going to gas all the trans people, they're going to sterilize the black population. If you say that, and you actually believe that, then the morally consistent thing might be to do something like this. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's, like, too edgy for YouTube. That's not even me, like, endorsing it. I'm just saying that's the reality. So they've been saying this. They've been stirring the pot for the last 2 years. We now have this whole 2025 thing where Trump's going to make America into a one-party, integralist Christian state, which sounds pretty base to me, but it's probably not going to actually happen. So you do that. Number 2, what I'm sure they've been doing is, I'm sure the FBI has been in every single Reddit, poll, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere they can, and just stirring the pot. Just being like, oh, well, you got to stop Trump. Trump is Hitler reborn. Throwing out some just crazy shit about, like, plans that he has. Maybe egging people on, going, someone should really do something to stop him. Someone would be a real human being if they stopped Trump from coming to power. And all these guys have been out just doing that and stirring the pot. And then combined with that, they basically neutered the Secret Service, fucked it all up, and put in rules of engagement that make it extremely difficult for them to actually protect Trump. And that the idea behind all of this is that you're creating a situation where it's highly likely someone's going to take a shot at Trump, and they're not going to be able to prevent it. But because it's not technically like a hitman hired by Hillary or Darkside Brandon or the DNC or whatever, that means that it's not our fault. We had nothing. We weren't responsible for this. So that is what I think happened. Um, I, because I don't know if it's really necessary for them to, and I have to be very careful what I say when it comes to political violence because I can't say certain things on YouTube regardless of what my actual opinions are. But I don't know. I could see. I don't know if it's necessarily you have to go to the level that they like specifically MK Ultra'd this guy or something. I don't know too much about the background, but I think probably. I think it's quite possible that he was on Reddit or Poll or something, and some FBI agent or just someone from Antifa or BLM or something was like egging him on to do this. As Blue Team points out, they gave Trump a bunch of fat middle-aged women, while Biden probably was guarded by SEALs and Rangers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be the president. I want Chads guarding me. I want like big Chads who can block a lot of bullets and are very quick on their feet. I don't want like middle-aged fat women. I want Chad. I want Chad to block those bullets the same way he would block a linebacker. To be honest. You know what's interesting is, so lictors who were during the Roman Republic the bodyguards of magistrates who had imperium were mostly pulled from the legions. I think generally speaking they were former centurions, are the people who they would pick out to be bodyguards for like the consul and the praetor and I think the quaestor even got one. But so that's what I think happened. We saw like a lot of just really stupid shit. Why does it keep signing me out? It's so annoying. Let's see here. Let me just sign myself back in. Wait, what? I don't know if anybody saw, I called it Bandage Gate. Something, did I get suspended or... just give me a second. Just Twitter's just being retarded. Okay. Okay, there we go. Let me just... So there was Bandage Gate, as I like to call it, and basically Bandage Gate was this like whole thing where like Trump had like faked his bandage or something. I think that's like what the narrative was, that Trump faked his bandage. Like he got a bigger bandage than what he actually needed because he was pretending to be hurt, and this was part of like some big like conspiracy theory, something like that. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. Bandage Gate. Ludicrously oversized ear bandage apparently not needed prior to tonight. So, like, as part of this whole, like, conspiracy theory, there was, like, I don't know if anyone saw these, like, fake, you had, like, these fake, videos of Donald Trump playing golf, which were not actually from the day after he got shot. It was from like another time, but someone uploaded them and pretended them that they were from the day after he got shot, but it was like fake news, and the idea was to try to show that Trump was faking getting shot, or I don't know. It's fucking retarded. Was Bandage Gate. So, also, we'll get to Destiny in a minute, but when Anna Kasparian is, like, felting Destiny, you know you're living in the worst timeline. I might just delete that, actually, because it's kind of gross. Let's see here. Where we go. So yeah, so that's Bandage Gate. So aside, that's what's going on with the Trump assassination. As for the RNC, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch it. The only speech I watched was actually the Teamsters Union guy. People were shitting on it and saying he was like a communist. I actually thought that was a pretty good speech. And I actually think Trump inviting him was a good idea. I think like that made sense. I didn't watch the rest of it because it just looked like a freak show of like boomer cons, diversity and inclusion, and just like the dregs of society. I had no interest in watching it. As for JD Vance, so when it comes to VP, I had a couple different lists. Personally, in terms of who I thought would be good and who I thought would be bad. So from a political standpoint, I thought the best pick would probably have either been Marco Rubio, Glenn Youngkin, or Lee Zeldin. Are who I would think. I would say I think from a political standpoint they would have made the most sense. Generally speaking, you try to have some sort of you try to pick someone from another part of the party than you as kind of a patronage thing. Like if you're from the social conservative wing, you try to pick someone maybe more libertarian, or if you're from more of kind of the corporate wing, you try to pick someone a bit more social conservative. Trump was kind of running like from the populist wing, so he picked Pence, who was like from the social conservative establishment wing of the party. But Trump decided to pick someone from the same wing of the party as him, from kind of the America First nationalist wing of the party, in J.D. Vance. Now, I've seen a lot of different things about J.D. Vance from all over the board. Maybe if people want, just post in the chat what you think. I don't really have a strong opinion yet. I was against him being chosen because he's like one of the best senators, and I thought it was a bad idea to take him out of Senate. And he would have just been better if he had been left there. So I saw a little bit of one of his speeches where he talked about how we need to move foreign policy away from moralizing and telling people to what they're supposed to believe and what they're supposed to do, and try to act more like China does, where we just do business with countries and we have relationships based on mutual self-interests and stuff like that. I do, from my understanding, so J.D. Vance isn't he kind of like he's the first millennial, right? To run for an office as high as this. He followed like a whole bunch of based people, like, or not based, but just like alt people. Doesn't he follow like let me see who he follows. So I think he follows like Mid Castiza. Let's see here. Following. Let's see. I think he follows Mid Castiza. Okay, so let's look at the people who JD Vance is following. Oops. We have Laura Loomer, Raw Egg Nationalist. I'm just seeing if I recognize any of these people. Let's see. West. Byron Donalds. Or are those all the people? I thought he followed BAP. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does on his like personal account or something like that. Or does it just not show everybody who he's following? So I feel like there was some like really edgy people he was. Or does it just not show it because Twitter sucks and it's like impossible to actually use this site? Anyways. Oh, here we go. Followers you know. It would be based if he followed me. Okay, let me see if I can look this up. This is really retarded. How to see who someone is following. Maybe they just took it down. Yeah, I think they just got rid of it. It's really annoying. Like, I remember before Elon bought it, this was one of the few things I actually liked about old Twitter, is you could look at it and scroll through, and it would have everybody they're following. Now it looks like they have like 40 people they're following or something. So I'm kind of interested to see who else is there. Like, so I think he follows Bronze Age Pervert or some other people like that. But we'll only show you a handful. I guess they just removed it because that's how these things work. And I even have Twitter Premium too. But apparently even with Twitter Premium... Oh wait, Lou Dobbs died? Oh no. Can I get 07s in chat for Lou Dobbs? Oh, it's sad. Lou Dobbs was a great man. Lou Dobbs is the one who like introduced me to the whole immigration question. It was the only show on like CNN that I actually watched when I was growing up. That's sad. 07's a chat for Lou Dobbs. Oh, it's a sad day. It's a really sad day. Let's see here. Yeah, it's so weird that Lou Dobbs was on CNN. That whole thing was bizarre, to be honest, that he was even on there. But let me see. Oh, Bat follows me? Well, I guess he just follows like everybody. Okay, let's see here. Followers you know. I don't know. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, so Lou Dobbs was a journalist who is on CNN, and he was kind of a leader in the whole he was an early leader in the whole illegal immigration thing, and he was just really hardcore on it. And he just pretty consistently, like, he was a promoter of like birtherism. He was like really pro. He was like the only pro-Trump. Like he was super pro-Trump to begin with. Stuff like that. But yeah, so he got kicked out of CNN. Probably because of that. He had his radio show. He's like a friend with Trump. So I always like Blue Dobbs. I haven't seen anything about him for War on the Middle Class was another one. He's kind of like Patrick. He's kind of like Pat Buchanan. That's a good comparison. He was kind of like the OG America First guy, like big on borders, big on like middle class populism and stuff like that. So I know this is a side trip, but R.I.P. King. Oh, was his what? Yeah, I guess this what was she? Okay, let's see here though. Was she? Okay, she was like she was Hispanic. So I don't know. Quote unquote Hispanic. Let's see here. Anyways, where was I? So I don't know. I think JD Vance is probably a step in the right direction. I don't know a ton about him. I think they could have done much worse. I think Trump is going for a successor, somebody who he can pass the movement off to in a couple of years. Because I think there was a couple different options. Like he could have, if he just wanted someone unobjectionable who would just be neutral on the ticket but had a 0% chance of backstabbing him, he would have gone with Ben Carson. If you wanted someone who is politically expedient, I think that honestly Lee Zeldin would have been a good pick. Or Glenn Youngkin would have also been a good pick, or even Rubio. But it looks like he's going with a successor. Now, to my understanding, Rubio's actually pretty good these days. Let me look this up. Okay. Numbers, USA. Okay. So Numbers USA is the anti-immigration group. So let's see what... okay, immigration grade cards. Let's see what JD Vance has. JD Vance has a 90% from Numbers USA. So that's pretty good. So he's up there. I don't know if he's the highest in the Senate. I think Rubio is actually higher. Yeah, Rubio is slightly higher. But yeah, Vance does actually have. Let's just see here. Who is the highest ratings by state? Any state. Let's see. Bozeman. Tom Cotton. Okay, well, like... So Ted Cruz is kind of a sleazy asshole, but he's not really like a... I don't think he's politically that bad. Let's see. Who else do we have? Where's Gosar? Yeah, okay, Gosar is 94. Let's see, where's Marjorie Taylor Greene? Okay, yeah, she's up there. Tom Tiffany. So yeah, so JD Vance has done pretty good on immigration. What are the other lists? He's anti-immigration because the GOP bases. Yeah, he's a bit of a grifter, kind of like that. That is at least like it's preferable to have someone who's a grifter to someone who's like ideologically suspect. Because that was like the thing with Dr. Oz, where when Dr. Oz was running for Senate, he basically just did whatever the the GOP base wanted him to do, which wound up being a lot better than what he might have done otherwise. But, yeah. Let me see. Whoa, it's Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy actually had a pretty decent voting record, as bad as he was. Mike Johnson has an 87%. George Santos, the late, the great George Santos, he had a good voting record on immigration. Let's see, who's the worst? Who are the worst people in the U.S.? Maxine Waters, of course. Let's see who the worst Republican is now. I'm curious. We'll get back to some other stuff in a minute. Who is the worst Republican? Oh, Rand Paul? Oh, that's too bad. I kind of like Rand Paul, actually. To be honest, it's kind of sad that he's that bad at it. Senator Ben Sasse. Has Paul just voted, like, poorly on everything? Really? Oh, that's weird. Romney, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski. See, the thing about Lisa Murkowski that makes her, like, so obnoxious is she comes from a dark, or like a likely red state, I guess, now. But like Susan Collins, you can get why she has to have a mixed voting record. She's from fucking Maine. Like that makes sense. But Lisa Murkowski's from fucking Alaska. Like, there's no reason for her to be as bad as she is. It's too bad that Sarah Palin didn't get in. Just shout out to the chat. What do people there think of Sarah Palin? I actually like Sarah Palin. I was actually an Obama supporter, like a really strong Obama supporter, but I actually liked Sarah Palin. And I maintain that's one of the few, like, actual examples of sexism. Like, I was a hardcore, like, I was a leftist back then, but I really hated the way that the media treated Sarah Palin. I thought it was just really gross. Like how they made porn movies about her, how they made a joke about her daughter getting raped, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I always kind of liked Sarah Palin. She just very much seemed like the old salt of the earth American. So, I hated McCain. McCain, I still think, is the worst candidate a major party's ever fielded. Can anyone think of anyone worse than McCain? Like, anyone lamer, more G-slur, more pathetic, more of a cuck, more of a pussy, more of a bitch than John McCain? I actually can't really think of anyone. To be perfectly honest. So. Okay. Now then, what was next on the list? Okay, so we covered the assassination. We covered J.D. Vance. Now let's move on to the to Destiny and to... I'm going to be honest, and you guys can shoot me for this. I probably... Knowing what I know now, I probably would have voted for Gore in the in that election. I also would have probably voted for Obama over McCain. As bad as Obama was, he didn't start World War III, and I think McCain would have started World War III. So that's my ice cold take of the day. That's my ice cold take of the day. Oh yeah, Destiny, right, Destiny. So Destiny got demonetized on Twitter. At least to my understanding, he got demonetized on Twitter because we'll go back and we'll take a look at like what Destiny said. So he got demonetized because someone ratted him out to Elon, which was based, by the way. In this household, is a oh, it did. He got demonetized. Oh, that's so base. So yeah, so Destiny got felted by Elon. He also got banned off of Kick, and this has sparked a massive debate as to whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. And this has also been. And before we get into Destiny, we'll just take a look at liberals of TikTok. So Libs of TikTok has started a campaign where they're going to start doxing leftists and trying to get them fired IRL. Is the current plan that they've started to go with. So there was let me see if I can find it. There was this woman who worked at a Home Depot who posted some really like hardcore shit about how she wishes Trump would have gotten assassinated. So they contacted Home Depot and got her fired. And so this has led to like a massive shitstorm over whether this was the right decision or not. Let's see here.
Yeah? Okay, from Cayuga. And you think that the shooter should have been a better shot? Is that what you posted on Facebook? You think that the shooter should have been a shooter, huh?
I am at work.
Yeah. I think that's pretty messed up. Pretty anti-American, if you ask me. This is ridiculous. You are ridiculous.
So, so you said too bad they weren't a better shooter. He is the definition of corrupt and evil. So they harassed her at our workplace. And then they got her fired. The individual's comments don't reflect the Home Depot or our values. We can confirm that she's no longer works at the Home Depot. So this has been the big criticism. It's should we on the right just start doing this, like just going, okay, you know what? What's this? Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a minute. Is like, okay, well this happened. Any like in Canada, if I was to publicly say I support Trump, if I was to wear a MAGA hat, I would probably be in danger of being fired from my job. If it got out, if someone went to my employer with a picture of me wearing a MAGA hat or saying like "Go Trump 2024," I'd probably get fired over that. And it is very common, and you've seen this with so many people, even who hold fairly normal conservative views, that they get doxxed. The left engages in a life ruination campaign. They get them deplatformed from everything. They get them fired from their job. They get them debanked. They do stuff like that. And then the question is, the question is, like, why don't we just start doing it? We have all these people who are posting on their Facebook that, oh, I wish Trump had been killed. I don't know, maybe they post about wanting to kill white people. Maybe they post about wanting to kill Israelis or Palestinians or whatever. And, like, why not just do the same thing and use platforms to ruin their lives? And It's an interesting question. I haven't taken an exact opinion on it because it is super G slur and it is really unsavory. But at the same point in time, it's if you weren't going to do it. Okay, so let's say people on the right don't start engaging in this kind of behavior. What would that change? Or no, if they did, what would that change for us? It probably wouldn't change anything because, like, Antifa and stuff still try to dox people and just life ruination whenever they can. So I guess the thing is, like, okay, well, they aren't really... I don't know if they really can do it more than they're doing it now. So if people on our side decided to start doing it as well, then there would be a cost to it. And some people have said maybe this is what we're going to have to do in order to get change. Maybe to get anti-doxing laws, to get laws against firing people based on their political views, you're going to just have to start taking down people with left-wing views and engaging in the same kind of tactics. And then hopefully that will eventually result in this being changed. That is the debate. That is the debate that we are seeing at the moment. So people can take whatever position they want. I will say this. I think at the very least, we should start flagging the big fish. I'm going to just come out and say that. Because the TOS is so selectively enforced. And it's like every time it's almost always enforced against conservatives, even people with very normal views. There's so much false flagging and stuff like that. What Destiny did broke TOS. You aren't allowed under Twitter TOS to celebrate somebody's death. That is not permitted. And I think it's G-slur that they have those rules. I don't like it. But if we're going to have it, then I think at the very least, people like Destiny should have to pay a price for it. Also, Destiny is evil, and Destiny wants to kill you and me and everybody else. It got so bad with Destiny that Piers Morgan felt at him. He went on Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan like blew him out and just said that he was like a disgusting cretin. And if you're losing to Piers Morgan, then that's Like, I admit, I started doing it a little. I have reported Will Stencil. I will admit that. Because Will Stencil advocated Biden drone strike Trump. He also posed people's docs. So I think we should just, at the very least, I think, like, if you see Will Stencil or Vouch or any of these F-slurs breaking TOS, you should flag them. Because, theoretically speaking, it's just, like he said that. Also, Will Stencil doxed people. I as I said, I flagged Will Stencil, posted a guy's personal information and engaged in life ruination tactics. So I flagged all of those, and I encouraged other people to do so. So I think that's fucked. I think what I'm going to say for the moment is I think we have to embrace doing it to public figures. If celebrities or influencers or whoever say something that violates TOS, then you're within your rights to try to get them flagged and deplatformed, because they do the same thing and they're public figures. And I'm sure, has Destiny deplatformed people? I don't want to. I'm sure he has, but I'm not sure if he's done it that directly. So let's see if we can find Destiny keeping it classy. because Destiny is a very classy dude. Um, Destiny said that he wanted to kill everybody who voted for Trump and stuff like that. He said he would be okay if his parents got killed because they're Trump supporters. I'm trying to find the stuff about what's his name, Corey. Where is it? Let me find the post. So this is what Destiny got demonetized over, which I think was based. Oh, okay, here was one of them. A person. So this. Okay, so let's just take a look because I wanna give this king another shout out because this dude deserves every shout out he can get. Corey. Okay, this king. So Corey Capitore was a former fire chief who died during the Trump rally, throwing himself over his family. He died. He threw his body over his wife and daughter and saved them from being shot. Capitore, Corey Capitore, based guy, a big Trump fan. Deeply religious Christian, had 2 daughters. His daughter wrote this like really heartfelt thing about how much she loved him and how great a dad he was. It's like I get like the what wishing Trump had died. Like I get that. That's fine. Like I get you view Trump as your mortal enemy. That's one thing. When Destiny started supporting this dude getting shot though, it's just I don't want to be like pearl clutching or it's just really gross. It just shows what like a massive piece of shit that Destiny is. So we have this is the retard that got killed at the Trump rally, fucking Lamau. I'm sure Corey and Babbitt are both having fun with each other in hell right now. I think that was the other guy who died. Or no, some other guy. So that's what we have. That was Destiny keeping it classy. Okay. For every MAGA that was giggling along with my edgy Palestinian tweets, I hope you realize that every single Palestinian civilian that gets bombed and killed in Gaza is worth 100 times more respect than any loser who gets wasted at a Trump rally. Don't be so selective with your things now. Oh, Babbitt was the woman on J6. Okay. Like, it's such a fucking, it's just gross. Like, as I said, even if he hadn't been a communist, even if he hadn't been, like, a Maoist, if he was Mao Zedong himself, even if I wouldn't have liked the person over it, I don't think you can shit on a dude who died saving his wife and daughter. That's just fucked. And that just shows what a fucking parasite Destiny is. And I think it's based that, where is it? Oh, by the way, this is what Biden posted the day after the thing. Where is the Destiny thing? Yeah, he got banned because people mass reported him for shitting on the firefighter at the Trump rally from Kick, which I think is based. So someone flagged Elon with all of these tweets that he made, so Elon demonetized him. Elon said that it was fucked and removed his monetization from Twitter, and Destiny's just been spiraling ever since then, which I think is awesome, and I think he deserved it. Like, let's see what else Destiny has been saying lately. Let's see what else. We have this cringe. What? Load the guy who died at the Trump rally. Ban him political speech. This is just like... Oh, is this Anna Kasparian felting Destiny?
Make light of someone's death because you disagree with their political views. And to be clear, I did not agree with his political views, the firefighter who was killed at the Trump rally. But it doesn't mean that I think that he should die as a result, or I wouldn't celebrate his death. So I don't agree with Destiny at all. I am not closely following Destiny's very public meltdown on social media right now, and I find it
several dozen in the last year. Yeah,
I find it incredibly dull, and to be honest with you, I feel like Destiny is an expert at garnering as much attention as possible for his
farming.
For his own financial interests.
Fair,
and so, you know, it is what it is. I just try to avoid him as much as I can because I want to have conversations with good faith people who are interested in having good faith conversations. I don't see him engaging in good faith conversations. I see him saying outrageous, controversial things for as much attention as possible. And so the question is, do you want to have these platforms reward that, or should there be, you know, terms of service?
Wow. When Anna's, like, talking sense, I mean, I think she blew him out. It is really tiresome and boring, to be honest. Oh. Okay, let's see what Joe's saying. Okay, I'm proud to speak at the NAACP. I hope they aren't going to eat you there. Oh. Let's see here. I'm sick of Elon Musk and his rich buddies trying to buy this election. It's like it's the opposite of reality, dude. Literally, all the rich, powerful people in America support you. Elon's like, maybe there's like one or two other billionaires who support Trump, but like almost none. Biden's 100-day plan. Kisses up to Putin and Russia. Vance doesn't even do that. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, and I know I shouldn't say this, but okay, so as a Christian, I shouldn't want people to sunset themselves and go to hell. But if Destiny and Boogie were going to sunset themselves, I would not feel particularly bad about it. I would not feel particularly sorry for either of them. I wouldn't celebrate it, but it would be the mildest of possible mild concern. If that was going to happen, to be honest, let's see here. Okay, so apparently we might be able to cover something in real time. What is this? Where's trending? Wait, where's trending? Isn't there normally like trending stuff? Explore. Is it under Explore? Biden kisses wrong woman. What is this? Biden has agreed to step down as Democratic nominee, according to multiple sources, including political analyst Mark Halperin. Biden is expected to make this announcement as early as this weekend. It is also reported that he will not endorse Vice President Kamala Harris as a successor. This decision comes amid speculation and pressures from prominent Democratic figures. Yeah, it's 100% confirmed, guys. 100% confirmed that this is going to happen. It's just really tiresome, to be honest. Like, it constantly just... Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I just get really tired of, like, these constants, 100% confirmed, it's definitely going to happen, guys, it's and stuff like that, and then it just never is. Maybe it is, but there's been so many other, like, instances where people have claimed this is going to happen and it didn't happen, that I don't really know how to feel about it. So basically, it's just 100% confirming something from anonymous sources enough times in hopes that one of the 100% confirmations will actually be true. So they made this movie and it was one of the greatest action movies ever. Yeah, it was based. It was a cool movie. So I don't know. Is it possible? As I said, I think Alex Jones should fake his own death and go hide in a country with no extradition. Like, he needs to go, just, I don't know, go to Russia or Serbia or Goa or Indonesia or Malaysia or somewhere without extradition. Alex Jones just needs to, like, fake his own death at this point in time. So that's what I think. By the way, you know what? I've been saying we were going to watch this again for a long time, so let's take a watch. This might be a good place to end off on. I did a parody of 100% confirmed. Argent, 100% confirmed. Star Wars. Okay. So this was a joke post. Holy shit, this got 20,000 views. So this is something I put out before anything regarding episode 6 or episode 9 or whatever the fuck it was announced. Because you had all these people saying 100% Rey is actually a Kenobi, 100% confirmed. So I did a parody of it, and my parody actually was closer to reality than most of the fake predictions. So let's watch this. Public reaction. Everyone, I have some very important news to tell you. So a viewer of my channel saw my Star Wars videos, and he gave me some information. Apparently he's working on Star Wars Episode 9. He said they aren't really sure about the title just yet, but he was able to give me some kind of inside baseball. So Kathleen Kennedy is gone. Disney was very disappointed with the results of Solo and the negative public reaction to The Last Jedi, and they aren't sure if they can replicate it again. So this is going to be a bombshell. George Lucas is coming back. They're going to bring George back. There's been kind of a coup. They're saying they're going to bring him back. It's kind of like what happened with the prequels. I mean, he kind of screwed it up, and then they made Attack of the Clones, and then he came back to save the day. He's the only one who they can kind of trust to make a Star Wars movie that'll kind of end this trilogy. So that's confirmed. He showed me some. I can't show you the internal documents because I don't want to get this person in trouble. Because only a certain number of people would have access to them. But yeah, 100% confirmed. Kathleen Kennedy's gone. George is back, and it's going to be awesome. So he gave me some pages from the script, and when I was looking at the cast listing, it said Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine, and this is I had no idea he was going to come back, but and then he was able to get me a couple pages of the script from a scene with Ian McDiarmid. So they're in some temple deep in the unknown regions, and Kylo Ren is there, and something has been pulling him in deep into the unknown regions, and he comes across this statue of an ancient Sith, and then we hear Ian McDiarmid's voice say, "You have come at long last. My empire may have fallen, but I remain." And of course, Kylo Ren's like, "But Palpatine, I thought you were dead." And he goes, "So long as the dark side continues to exist, so shall I." So then they kind of have a conversation, and Palpatine reveals that Snoke had been his apprentice, and he had sent him for the express purpose of recruiting Kylo Ren. And this is kind of the big reveal. This is what it's been leading up to. Like, it's funny how, but I literally just came up with this as like a joke. I was just trying to come up with like the lamest thing possible off the top of my head, and it like large portions of this resemble what actually wound up happening. Is Palpatine's master plan is he wants Kylo Ren to fall to the dark side so he can possess Kylo Ren and use him as his new body. Because Kylo Ren's a Skywalker, so he's powerful enough to contain Palpatine's essence. See, they're trying to bring some more stuff kind of from the extended universe in. And as you know, in the extended universe, Palpatine's ultimate goal was to possess Anakin Solo, the third child of Leia and Han. Because as he was a Skywalker, he was the only one powerful enough to contain his essence. Now, that actually did happen, but it was, I believe, Rey instead of Kylo Ren. So Snoke had been his apprentice, who had gotten injured in a battle with a Jedi back during the Clone Wars. And Palpatine had recruited him, and they had kind of come up with their plan. And Palpatine had, I guess, promised Snoke something like he was going to let him be Prime Minister of the Empire or something, but Snoke thought he was going to overthrow Palpatine. But it all worked out to Palpatine's advantage, because there can only be one, a master and apprentice. And I'm not sure. I think they're thinking, they haven't completely finished the script, that Kylo Ren will give in and Palpatine will possess him. Like, that is confirmed. And he's going to try and get Rey to be his apprentice. And Kylo's love for Rey is going to cause him to reject Palpatine. That's literally what happened. And he's going to throw himself off a balcony. Like, Rey's not going to, like, push him. He's going to throw himself off, destroying himself, but also taking Palpatine with him. And then it's going to show him meeting with a Force ghost of Yoda, Luke, and Leia. And he's going to move on to the afterlife with them. And Rey is going to refound the Jedi Order. So those are just, like, some of the pages that were leaked. He wasn't able to get too much to me. But honestly, it sounds pretty good to me. George is going to be back. Ian McDiarmid is awesome, and glad that he's going to be playing Palpatine again. Really, it sounds like they kind of realized their mistakes, and they're going to try and fix it in the part 3 of the reboot trilogy. So maybe I'll even stop calling it a reboot, because this movie sounds awesome. Sometimes you got to make something bad to make something a little better, and the build-up, it looks like, is gonna pay off. As for Finn and Rose, I don't know. That's kind of one of the things that I think George is gonna kind of shunt them to the side a bit. But which is what happened. Which is exactly what happened. They did very poorly. In particular, the Finn toys didn't sell at all. So they're kind of down for the count. But like I said, Kathleen Kennedy gone. George Lucas is back. Ian McDiarmid is returning as Palpatine, 100% confirmed. Sorry, I can't show you this stuff because it's not legal for me to show it because it's technically a leak. But I can tell you this stuff, and it's going to be great. So if I get any more leaks, they're going to be sure to post. So I don't know. Once again, this was just complete like shit that I made up. but a lot of that actually wound up happening. My fake leak turned out to be a lot more accurate than most of the real leaks. So, anyways, guys, that's the show for today. God bless everybody. Have a great evening. Have a great week.